Johannesburg, today. The sun dips low over a bustling marketplace, but behind the noise, tension crackles in the air, an invisible line dividing locals from outsiders. Foreigners from Black African countries, especially Nigerians and Zimbabweans, move through the streets with eyes in the back of their heads, caught between survival and hostility. Once, they were brothers in the fight against apartheid. Now, they are target of suspicion, envy, and sometimes even violence. What changed? Why do Black South Africans, once united with African neighbors, now turn against them with growing resentment? To understand why Black South Africans harbor so much resentment for Black African foreigners in the country, we must return to the past. In the 1990s, after the fall of apartheid, South Africa entered a new chapter, one of freedom, but also of immense economic and social challenges. The wounds of apartheid left the country deeply unequal, with millions of Black South Africans facing poverty, unemployment, and limited access to opportunities. As South Africa struggled to rebuild, immigrants from other African countries like Nigeria and Zimbabwe began arriving, seeking a better life. Many came with dreams of business, trade, and entrepreneurship. Nigerians, in particular, gained a reputation for their drive and success. While many Black South Africans were still grappling with economic hardship, they saw these foreigners prospering where they were struggling. Resentment began to grow. And though no one dared to say it aloud, a sense of jealousy and suspicion quietly took root. Over time, the quiet resentment turned into something more dangerous. Black South Africans themselves, victims of apartheid, now view their fellow Black African foreigners with distrust. They take our jobs, our resources, they think they're better than us. These whispers echoed in the streets, in the markets, and in the homes of those struggling to make ends meet. We see them coming here, setting up businesses, getting ahead. Meanwhile, we're stuck. It doesn't feel fair, says one South African. They are everywhere. We can't even get work in our own community sometimes. It feels like they take what should be ours, says another.
There is no job, that foreigners taking our job. No.
We have one of the highest unemployment rates in the world.
Yeah, unemployment.
So when they are fighting, like you said, with another African brother, it's not because I'm fighting because I do not want you here. It's because I probably look at you and you are driving a Mercedes-Benz and I go to my house and I don't know what my children are going to eat tonight.
Though these fears are often exaggerated, the frustration is real. Many South Africans feel left behind in their own country, and foreigners have become easy scapegoats. Accusations often fly. Foreigners are blamed for drug trafficking, crime, and corrupting local women.
Other one, they killing our people, youth, with the nyaupe and what. People that have graduated, they go to UK with this man. Now, after that, they're sleeping. But all Nigeria come what? They coming with the big cars. Where they get the man, they're selling drugs. And this government is behind them.
These allegations serve as fuel for the flames of resentment, casting foreigners as convenient culprits for South Africa's social problems. But data tells a different story. According to South African crime statistics, over 90% of crimes in the country are committed by locals. For instance, only about 7.5% of the prison population consists of foreign nationals, while the overwhelming majority of those behind bars are South Africans themselves. This data undermines the popular narrative, revealing that while some crimes may involve foreigners, they are far from the root cause of South Africa's crime epidemic. Nigerians are often seen as symbols of success, with thriving businesses and visible presence in many sectors. But with success comes suspicion. How are they making so much money? What's their real business here? Questions that only further divide communities. Though some accusations may stem from isolated incidents, they have fueled a stereotype that tars the entire immigrant community. Most of these foreigners are hardworking, law-abiding people trying to make a living in a difficult environment. The South African government has worked to address these tensions, launching campaigns against xenophobia, calling for unity and urging peace. But words alone cannot heal the deep-rooted economic inequality that continues to drive this division. Efforts to bridge the gap between locals and foreigners are ongoing. Some communities have come together, realizing that their struggles are shared, and the real enemy is poverty and systemic failure, not their African brothers and sisters. But the wounds are deep, and healing takes time. Today, South Africa is not burning with xenophobic violence as in years past, but the tension remains palpable. Many South Africans still harbor feelings of distrust and resentment towards foreigners, particularly Nigerians and Zimbabweans. The streets may be calm, but beneath the surface, those feelings simmer. This is the reality: an uneasy peace, where foreign Africans, once allies in the struggle against apartheid, now feel unwelcome in a land they thought would offer hope. But this isn't where the story ends. The resentment doesn't just flow one way. Across Africa, in Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and other countries, the hostility from South Africa has ignited a backlash. What started as xenophobic sentiment within South Africa has triggered a reciprocal hatred, with many Africans now looking at South Africans through a lens of disdain and betrayal. On social media, it's a war of words. In online spaces, banter between South Africans and their fellow Africans escalates into a full-blown cultural battle. Hashtags trend, memes circulate, and insults fly. For many Nigerians and Zimbabweans, South Africa's actions feel like a deep betrayal. The resentment, once local, has spread across borders, turning into a continental divide. Black Africans now question each other's motives, and old wounds remain unhealed. Will South Africa and its African neighbors find a way to mend this fractured relationship? Or will the divide continue to widen, fueled by fear, jealousy, and misunderstanding?